This week, from the internet, Hasbro's Star Wars team takes a drumming but keeps on funding. Meanwhile, the COBRA H.I.S.S meets its goal in a single day, and it's off to the races for its stretch goals. Also, superpowers fans activate. Form of 5 points of articulation. And Super7 wants you to add another The Simpsons pre-order to your collection. But when can we expect to feel the heft of Homer's rotund girth in our hands? Oh, I have 3 kids and no money. Why can't I have no kids and 3 money? It's the Reluctant Adult Podcast.
Welcome to another episode of the Reluctant Adult Podcast. My name is Paul, and I am joined, as always, by the man whose stretch goals include being able to touch his toes without being in extreme pain, Bill.
Hi, everybody. That's right. I did succeed in that presidential, the presidential workout?
Oh, my God. Yeah, you had
fitness test, the presidential fitness test. Yes.
Yeah, you climb the rope. Do they still climb ropes
all
in
that
school?
Stuff.
It was impossible. Nobody can climb a rope.
I felt
infeasible.
Nervous for the people that would climb the rope.
Yeah, what are you going to slide down? You're going to get rope burn. That's where the term comes from.
Yes.
It's just, this is not safe for school. You know who, unless your gym teacher was Sergeant Slaughter, then you'd probably have no choice. He'd call you maggot, and you have to get up there. He's
That's
so
true.
Inspiring. So we're talking this week about the current HasLab funding project. Right. The big story this week, obviously, Reva's lightsaber. Another 5 people backed the lightsaber, so we are well on our way to another failed HasLab joining Cookie Monster and the Rancor. Is that it? Are those the only 2 that have failed so far?
Yes.
And then will be Reva's.
This week they also revealed some more stands to go with your Reva lightsaber, though, as well.
Oh, really?
So you get blade stands.
Ooh, they're trying.
Because obviously, like over time, gravity's going to take care of that thing, and it's going to begin to sag.
Gravity
on the endpoints. Gravity.
Do you know from Starlight Cafe at Magic Kingdom? The what's the guy's name?
I was just introduced to him this past trip.
Oh, you didn't know him?
I didn't know he existed prior to this. Yeah, my son absolutely loved that guy.
What's
I forget
his name? Ray
Fillet? Something like that. Ray something.
Cosmic Ray. There it is.
Cosmic Ray.
He's up there. He's like the Max Rebo. He's got the
he's a great guy.
Gravity. Tells like bad dad jokes, but all about being a space alien. It's fun stuff.
Right.
Fun stuff. So everybody is just dunking on this Star Wars Hasbro team because this is going to be back-to-back failed HasLabs, whereas the G.I. Joe classified HISS tank got funded in its first day. It exceeded its funding goal, and we're already rolling on those stretch goals. So
we are. It was funded within 8 hours, which is the crazy thing.
Now this time they did something a little different. There was an incentive to back it in the first day.
Right, so they did something similar to the Proton Pack, where I guess it was somewhat similar, but yes, you had to, if it was funded within, I think, the first week, an additional figure was put in with a tactician, but you also got to pick the color of the tactician once production started rolling out.
So that's, Have they officially put up the poll yet? Because I've seen some choices, but is that just a fan made thing?
No, so they've released the choices, but you can't vote until the campaign ends.
Gotcha. So that's
you have till the 15th,
July 15th. Okay.
Yeah,
so
August 15th.
That's when the whole campaign ends.
Correct, and that's when you can vote for.
Oh, so it met that goal of being funded within the first week. So now, there's no other like time related goal other than the end of the campaign.
No,
gotcha.
No.
So that is a confirmed at least 2 figures that will be accompanying the HISS tank.
Correct.
Okay. There, obviously, the hope is always with these stretch goals that there will be more, but not so far. What was the first stretch goal? There's 4 potential stretch goals.
Correct, not including that initial goal. The first was dual missile racks for the side of your HISS tank.
Pretty cool. I like that one.
Yeah, they looked like Nerf darts from far away. I didn't know if they fired. That was
I didn't think they came out. It looks like they're just but they do look like the Nerf. The tips of the does look like the Nerfs, the soft tip. Yeah.
Second one, a little got some people a little miffed. Got some of the fans.
Still better than bones
back.
and cardboard, but not the
best.
Yes,
indeed.
Best.
So we're getting a classic style canopy to switch out for the top of the HISS tank,
which is like the door that goes over the cockpit.
Correct. Yep. And then we're getting like tread guards in a classic style that can get swapped out, so you can customize your item, your figure.
So I don't know. Vehicle. I mean, obviously the goal of Hasbro is to get people to buy at least one, but then more than one. So with this in mind, do you think Hasbro is trying to get people to buy multiple so that they can display all of the looks at the same time?
I think they're really moving towards getting people to buy at least 2.
Yeah.
One in the classic style and the other one in this newer classified iteration that they've come up with.
So we are at, let me take a look at our current funding as of Saturday. 12,312. And where is the list of things that you can back?
So our next goal, so we've hit our 12,000, so that we're getting
that was number 2.
Correct. So they should be announcing 3 at some point, but the holiday
this is interesting.
That.
All of the stretch goals are listed as upgrades, which makes me think these are things that you can add onto the vehicle, not that it's going to be an additional figure, because of that.
Right.
I think because that's the problem. That was one of the problems with the Star Wars Rancor, is that everyone's like, all right, this one's going to be the Rancor Keeper. This one's going to be, I don't know. What do people want? They wanted Ula. Yeah, that's what they kept writing.
Yes.
So, and then as we know, the Rancor Keeper was never even intended to be one of the stretch goals, but because people wanted it so much, they added it in there just to try to get people to back it, and it still failed.
Failed.
In this case, I think calling it an upgrade eliminates that like disappointment when it's not a figure.
Sure. I think we're still due for one figure. I think
you're not going to get it.
We need someone for the gunner's station on the top. I bet we get one more crew member.
Well, why? What is the second figure? The mechanic?
He's like a tactician, so he's supposed to sit.
A tax attorney? What is he?
Yeah, he's the tax man. He's the COBRA H.I.S.S tactician.
IRS.
So he's supposed to sit in the back of the HISS tank.
Yeah. And
there's a monitor and everything installed back there, and he's supposed to do the battlefield strategy.
like while they're fighting the war.
Exactly.
Should have done this prior.
It's a wild concept, because it's like you will back this in this amount of time or you don't get this at all.
Yeah.
Which is just hilarious to me.
I mean, if what happened with the proton bag is true, you could cancel if you wanted to. So like if you just wanted to see like let's back it now, let's see where we get, let's see if at the end of the day it's worth it. And then if not, then you could be like, well, you know what? It turns out I don't actually want this, and you can back out. So really no risk if you just want to sort of see what you're going to get. You were pushing me hard to back this. I don't think this fits into my collection. I barely collect the figures because they're so hard to find.
I think if they announce a third figure, I think you should get it just to resell it.
If this was
because there are those collectors out there. If there are those collectors out there that just want the figures themselves, and each one of these figures is going to be numbered, in sequence with the rest of the classified figures. It's not going to be like a HISS, HISS 1, HISS 2, or H1, H2. These are going to be in sequential order with the figures in the classified line.
See, I think there will be people that have cold feet and then they really need it after the fact, and they'll pay.
Right.
Well, I mean, that's, it makes sense. If you have $300 lying around, or $350, whatever it is.
No, it's $300. It's a good price.
It's not a good price. It's a terrible price. What are we doing calling that a good price? Let's take it. Let's break that down. The figures cost $25, right?
Right.
Okay. We'll say there are two, because there are two. They're,
correct.
That is $50. So you're paying $250 for this tank. Let's think of another large item. That's how much we paid for the proton pack, right? $250?
No, the proton pack was much more than that.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. It was like $400?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that still seems like a lot more plastic, though.
This is less than the Super7 turtle van.
Yeah, but Super7 is insane. They
Are.
insane.
It's true.
You can't. I'm never going to use them as an apples to apples
You're not going to engage
comparison.
them.
They're just
enough.
Out of their minds. This Kane and Kodos for $75. Get out of here. We'll get to them later.
About
it. It does stuff too. Like, it has a little light in the front and it shines the insignia on the ground.
Electronics. It has electronics attached to it.
Moving parts. I assume rubber treads on there.
Those are all movable and articulated, so those will roll. So
it's a nice piece.
It is nice. It's large.
I collected Joe as a kid.
Yeah.
But I
never had a HISS
tank. I was going to say, I don't remember having a HISS tank, so I don't have that like nostalgic connection to this piece.
Right. Yeah, I had all the Tiger Force stuff. That was my wheelhouse. For whatever reason.
It's a little too clean. Like, I usually don't like battle damage, but just because it's a matte black, I feel like it needed some silver damage on there.
Maybe stretch goal 3 will be a sticker sheet.
No. No stickers. That was the bane of my existence with these Joe toys, trying to get those on straight.
Apply your own decals. Well, that was so I'm looking at the I think it's the Saga collection AT-AT.
Yeah.
And they gave you like a battle damage sticker sheet for it, but they didn't give you like any idea as to where you put the stickers. So it was up to you to damage your
stickering.
Own. And that's stressful in its own right.
God, I hate that.
What do I do?
I know. The worst sticker experience I ever had with a toy, I got that Hasbro WWF ring, the King of the Ring yellow ring, and in the middle of it, it has a big WWF logo, almost the size of the entire center of the ring. And I put it on, crooked, and I tried to peel it off, and it ripped, and then it bubbled, and it was just disgusting. Oh, I hated it. It ruined the entire experience for me.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. But now I know you use tweezers, and then you do a little bit, and then once you have it right, you like use like a credit card or something and flatten it out.
There should be a service,
There should be,
like a sticker service.
Or they should use the stickers that you have to wet. I guess these are more decals, but you get like a little wiggle room right away, and then once you're good, you like push it down more or let it dry.
Oh, sure.
Something. Yeah, that's what we need. But yeah, stickers are the worst. Please don't include stickers. I know the Proton Pack is coming with them, but there's no chance I'm going to use them anyway.
Yeah, you don't have to put those on.
No, selling those. So speaking of these, you're trying to get me to buy this to flip it. The Mattel WWE ring, the new generation arena, whatever they called it, from last year, at least last year. Yeah, last year. That is on the water. Apparently, it's shipping to us.
Oh.
It was scheduled to be here in August. It looks like they may make that date. So if you remember, this is a ring, a brand new ring. You peel up the canvas. There's wood, facsimile wood, to mimic the actual rings. Comes with a little entranceway from the new generation back in the 90s. It has lights and sound, or at least lights. Yeah. It was going to come with Diesel, an Ultimate figure, which those are at least $30 right now in store. And then because it wasn't doing too well, it wasn't doing too hot, They threw in another figure, and that was a Macho Man, which doubles as a commentary Macho Man. So he comes with like a headset that's built into his cowboy hat. So 2 figures, and then it reached its stretch goal for Doink the Clown. So that's 3 Ultimate figures. So it's really good. Like if you want to keep the ring, but you want to sell the figures, you want to keep the ring. So that one has a lot of different options for making. Because that one was 200, I think, 250.
I thought that was 250. It was 250.
Let us confirm that.
Okay.
I don't disagree, but I just want to make sure that. So that was a lot of money out there.
It was.
And then obviously the Proton back, what we just talked about, was $400.
Correct.
I can't even find. I can't even find my email receipt for this.
They pulled the ring with $1, so.
Oh my god, that's weird, right? Whatever, we'll come back to it. So we'll just say it was 250 because I think that is correct.
I think it was.
So that's coming in August. Proton pack next year sometime.
Right.
Still confident that'll happen. So I have a lot of things that I get. It's time to make some hard decisions. Do I want to keep these toys? Do I want to sell these toys? And then it's like, if you want to sell them, do you put them on eBay? Do you set your price? Do you wait? Do you test the waters? Do you let other people test the waters? Like, you want to get your most in return, most bang for your buck, if you will. So that's where the strategy comes in. So I think right away, people will be very excited to get these. So if you are like one of the first people to get it and you put it up on eBay, you might get the most. And then maybe it'll fall off, but then maybe it'll pick up again. I think a lot depends on what gets announced after this. Because if they announce a Ghostbusters 1 or 2 Proton pack, that'll sort of take the wind out of the sails of this guy, because people probably would prefer to have something that looks like what was from the original movies, not the Afterlife movie.
Right.
So I think I don't think I'm going to sell the Proton pack just because I really want that, unless... I mean, maybe I need the money really desperately or something, but like I plan to keep that. The ring is a different story. That one I bought because I wanted it to succeed, but also I see that as a flipping situation, or at least part of it, because I'm actually honestly, like, I'm more of an AEW figure fan right now, so we'll see what happens. So I don't think I'm gonna back the HISS. You already backed it. It's happening.
I did.
I don't
It's
think
happening.
you need my additional backing to succeed. If you miss out on that 4 stretch goal by 1, I still won't feel bad, because whatever. But
what did I see? Diamond Select just picked up the AEW license. Did you see that as well?
Yeah. So this is a little weird. They are doing... I don't even think it's the Mini-Mates. It's like these vinyl statue versions of the Mini-Mates. Have you seen these with the other lines?
I think I've seen them with Ghostbusters. They're not quite. They're in the vein of a Mini-Mate, but they're
the design looks like a Mini-Mate, but the engineering of it is they're statues. So if you're not familiar with Mini-Mates, Mini-Mates have been around for a long time. The very first Mini-Mates licensed line was Star Trek, and they were 3 or 4 inches, but then they couldn't do that with other licenses because like whoever had DC at the time, their contract conflicted with that, so they shrunk them. So then the standard size for Mini-Mates was like 2 inches, and these are one of the lines that I got really excited about. I was all in. They did like blank Mini-Mates that were colored, that had logos on them, like for Toy Fair and stuff. So I had a ton of Mini-Mates, and then they just sort of like floundered, and I don't know, they just sort of fell out of favor with me, but they kept going. They've been going this whole time. There's like X-Men ones, there's a million of them. They're doing Power Rangers. I had all the the Ghostbusters were real big for a while there. And then
Toys R Us was a big supporter of the Mini-Mates line.
That's a good point. Yeah, when Toys R Us went away, that pretty much spelled doom for any sort of, because they were never, I don't think they were ever at Target. Maybe
you'd see these at Walgreens. Walgreens would get them if you
they seem like just sort of like a
space in there.
Yeah. So they still exist. They're still happening, but they don't really get the attention they used to get. But they did these upsized statues. Like the Mini-Mates themselves are articulated. They have like ball jointed elbows and legs and knees and elbows, or shoulders and arms and legs and knees and elbows. But they're non-articulate, but they're like a little bit posed. Like I think they try to get some sort of pose in there.
Okay.
But then, yeah, so the first AEW figures they're doing is a 2-pack with CM Punk and Sting from that night where they wore each other's colors. So, like, Sting has, like, CM Punk's, like, taped fist across his forehead, and CM Punk has, like, Sting colors. So that's cool. That's even Jazzwares, who does the AEW figures, hasn't done that set yet. So, first to the market, a cool approach. Not something that I'm necessarily interested in. It's interesting that they signed with them to do these, because apparently Funko has agreed to only do WWE in terms of wrestling. So as long as that agreement exists, they will never be AEW Pops. So this is like the next best thing.
I gotcha.
So we'll see. It's nice to see more AEW product, because the show itself is a good product. So it's nice to see more companies jumping on board. This week, Target had a big sale, trying to clear out some of those older AEW figures so that they can get some new sets in. They had half off, so for $10 you could pick up the. There's 2 lines. There's Unmatched and Unrivaled, I believe. And Unrivaled
Sounds
is
right.
like the first one, the gold. And that one was on sale. So there were some figures hanging around from Series 2, been there at least a year. Like Frankie Kazarian was there, which I never picked up, so I picked him up. My wife was at another location, and they had a couple. They had Lance Archer, and they had what's her name? The transgender woman. Nyla Rose, that's her name. So I had her pick those up for me because I like the figures a lot, and they're easy to customize. So if I wanted Lance Archer's torso for another figure, I could just pop right off, and it's very easy. So happy to have those. I wish that the new series, which is I think 9, that has like Christian and Thunder Rosa, Eddie Kingston, that is starting to pop up in stores. So that would have been awesome to get that set for $10, because I got it from Ringside, but mine didn't come with the cards because they're supposed to come with collector cards. Whatever reason, the ones that Ringside got did not have the cards packed in, but the ones heading to Target do. So I kept these mint on card. I would love to have another set to open and then get the cards, but the sale ends tomorrow. It's probably not going to happen, but it would have been nice. Some people got that good deal.
Lucky them. This is the people that go to Target like every single day. I used to be me. Now it's like, no.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gone.
I don't mind going to Target. If I could, I'd go every day. It's just a nice experience. Just a nice quick walk around, see what they got. Not harming anybody. Actually, I so wanted to find these figures for the good deal. I looked into Brickseek and I looked into Pop Finder.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And the figures popped up, like the listings popped up, but they all said out of stock. And apparently the sites are no longer accurate for Target items because Target got sick of people coming in and arguing and saying, no, you're wrong. I have the information that says these toys are back there. Go find them.
Yeah, of course.
So those people ruined it for everybody. So now you actually have to call or actually go. But I'm not going to call. I'm not going to make someone go check, and then they probably don't know. They're like, yeah, I saw a wrestler, and then they show up, and it's like Roman Reigns. I'm like, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
So I'm not putting any extra stress on retail workers or service employees. They got enough going on. I don't need them.
I'm trying to remember the last time I called a store looking for something specifically.
It's been a while.
I don't know what it's been a while, and I don't even think it was necessarily a toy, which was great.
Yeah, it was probably toilet paper back in 2000.
It probably was.
Yeah.
Excuse me, do you have toy
or baby formula earlier this year, like
sriracha?
Ooh,
and I walked into a couple things of sriracha at my Target. That was the only thing I bought. I was happier than anything.
Yeah, what's going on with sriracha? It's hard to find right now. The pepper is gone.
The pepper is gone. There's definitely a shortage. So,
yeah.
I walked into my local Target last week, and kids wanted toys, and I was like, no. And then walking down the food aisle, because now I always check to see if there's sriracha. They had 3 bottles, and I got 2 of them. I left one for someone else.
Put one on eBay.
I checked the prices. They're not. It's not worth.
Nobody's selling it.
No, they're selling it. It's just not worth selling it because
nobody's
buying
nobody's
it
paying,
for what they're charging. Oh, of course not.
What are you rubbing something here?
I'm
Your
rubbing my
hands like
and I
Mr.
will
Burns.
stop.
Yeah, please stop it.
Yes.
I'm hearing it.
Sorry.
I just like I can't have that the whole time. My kid always asks for toys. Do your kids ever ask for toys that don't exist? Like all of a sudden, Charlie's like, I want rocket shoes because he saw it in Johnny Test.
No.
And I'm like, you can't even roller skate. You think you're gonna have experimental rocket shoes? You think that's gonna go well for you?
Yeah, no, they never ask for anything out of the ordinary. It's always something grounded in reality or something they saw on TV.
Lucky you. I definitely, it's like, you pay for what you did as a kid with your kids. And like, I definitely was always asking for toys and stuff. And my kid is like me times 1,000. I'll have to ask my mom, like when we go back in a couple of weeks, like what I was like.
Right.
Like, I know, like I always wanted, like we would always try to get the Power Rangers stuff. And like, I was always asking for Ninja Turtles. But this kid, now that they have like these YouTube channels where the only goal of the show is to get you to buy merchandise, like he's always asking for new stuff.
Sure.
Do your kids watch Vlad and Nikki?
No, I keep them away from that.
It's insane.
I won't let them watch anything where the kids have some sort of toy
merchandise
in
their
aisle.
name. Yeah, like Ryan.
Yeah, exactly. So Ryan.
I didn't know that Vlad and Nikki had stuff, but then we were watching it and they like were advertising their shirts, and then they have the balls in this, like the mystery balls at Target, where it's like, ooh, what you gonna get?
Right.
These kids, I mean, I don't know where they're from. They're not from the States. They live here now.
Fair enough.
But they have accents, and some of the videos they don't speak English. They just live in this house, and then like they're like, Mom, can we have this toy? And she opens a drawer, and the drawer is full of new toys, and then they have like an entire room full of Hot Wheels. It's not good. Like, I'm not for censorship, but can we shut this down? This is not helping anybody.
Honestly, I wish every single time I want to shut a channel down for the kids, they always direct me to YouTube Kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I want to actually censor YouTube from my kids.
Right. Like, can we get somebody on this? We don't need these, as parents, we don't need these unrealistic expectations of how many toys we can buy and how many toys
that's like with Bluey.
Keeping in the house.
We talked about how Bluey just sets up a bad
they play with the kids constantly. Like,
constantly.
There's no time for that.
Isn't.
It's not how it
like,
works.
I'm so exhausted. By the end of the day, I don't know what.
Oh my god!
Right? Oh, this unrealistic expectation that the parents can play with the kids all the time and just drop what they're doing.
That's why the kids are watching Bluey, because we don't have the energy to play with them. Yeah, right. Stop biting the hand that feeds you, Bluey.
Oh,
quickly going back, what color are you going to pick for this G.I. Joe Taxman?
The purple. The purple.
Does that match anything?
No, but it's really nice looking.
Just a nice royal purple.
Yeah. Okay. Also going back to this real quick, Hasbro needs to realize that, and especially in the past, and they could have learned their lesson from the Rancor, and if they ever wanted to go back, they need to release any vehicle or any monster creature, they need to release it with a character. No matter what. No matter what.
Yeah.
And that's the incentive to buy.
People they need their collection to be complete in terms of figures.
Right. Well, they need to be able to do something with it right away as well. Like, if it's the Rancor, you need to at least have Luke to fight the Rancor.
They tried to give you Luke. Nobody wanted him.
Yeah, but it was way after the fact. It was after the bones and the cardboard backdrop and the bag of sand or whatever the hell they were trying to.
Well, to be fair,
with that
wasn't the first stretch
Rancor
goal a Gamorrean guard?
It was. You're right.
Yeah. So,
but we already have a Gamorrean guard.
It needs to be a new figure.
It needs to be a
new
figure.
This is how you sell these larger things. That's why you always put a desirable figure in the playset, because people will spend the extra money rationalizing it as, I'm just spending this to get the figure. If I end up throwing the playset away or whatever, I just need that figure.
Of course.
Yeah. So again,
same with vehicles.
People are very I don't want to say they're upset with the Star Wars team, but they're very like comparing it to other
yes,
the G.I. Joe team, and they just see there's deficiencies, it seems like, with the Star Wars team. The Star Wars team doesn't really have the pulse, if you will, of the collector's needs.
At the end of the day, though, Hasbro owns the G.I. Joe IP.
Fair enough. Yes, that's true.
You know, so they can put in more accessories. They can do a little more, like a little extra with these figures. Star Wars, they don't own that. They have to pay the royalties and the fees and everything attached to it. So by the end of everything, you know, they're probably left with very little profit margin in terms of what they can put out.
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I think they could have even charged more for the Rancor if they worked in the cost of these other figures. And I do know that they said that Ula was never on the table, that Disney was not going to approve that figure. So if they had come out, because people were expecting that figure, it just made sense. Right. If we were ever going to get this figure, it was going to be with the set. So if they had come out right away and say, don't be disappointed when you don't get this because it's not happening. And then
you can't grow buzz off of initial disappointment. That's the thing.
I know, that's why you have to make it clear that don't get your hopes up. Don't be like, okay, I'll back it once they announce Ula, because that's never going to happen.
Right.
And also, that first stretch goal needs to be enough to move the needle. And another Gamorrean guard, a re-released figure, is not going to do it. And the fact that they didn't even have the Rancor Keeper slated to be included with this, like, shame on you. How do you not do that?
And there was like a piece of paper that they like dangled in front of us of like a cutout of the character. It wasn't even a digital representation of the Rancor Keeper. It was just like, here he is. This is the guy.
Yeah, because they didn't even have it advanced. Like, they probably weren't even gonna make that figure. And then they were like, oh shit, somebody call the art department. We need to show something to show that we can make this.
Now, so what if they held off on this? Book of Boba Fett comes out, and they make it to that. They don't call it Return of the Jedi. Book of Boba Fett.
Even
Rancor.
If you call it Return of the Jedi, this absolutely adds enough backers to get it over. So whether Disney told them this was going to happen or not, whether the Rancor was going to be included in the show or not, if they did, if Hasbro knew and they still did it so early, like, shame on you, Star Wars team. And maybe because it was the pandemic, or it was like the poor shipping year, and they just needed money real quick to like make the books look better. That's why they did like 3 back-to-back or like consecutive Kickstarter things.
Yeah, HasLabs.
Fine. But it didn't work out. If you had waited and you knew that the most, like, well, obviously Boba Fett was not the best show, but the Mandalorian was in that episode, the hottest character in the Star Wars universe was going to fight the Rancor or be involved with the Rancor, yes, people would have backed it. But no, you wanted it, you got greedy, you wanted it all up front, and now look what happens. You got Rancor hanging out with the Cookie Monster at the bar from The Shining, just like their black and white photos up on the wall talking about what could have been.
Waiting to get their Inquisitor lightsabers.
Oh, yeah. I love when people update the photo, because they have like the photo of all of the Hasbro Pulse items, the HasLab items, and then they have like the ghost, the Jedi ghost of the Rancor just hanging in there. Like, hey guys, can I?
Somebody
around?
Did a really crude Photoshop of the HasLab Rancor dressed up as a Cobra.
Nice.
Infantry person, and it was like, here's your third stretch goal.
There you go.
It was Rancor Cobra Infantry.
And then somebody had the Reva's lightsaber as the helicopter blades for the HISS tank.
Yes, indeed, I did see that.
Fans being much more ingenious than the teams working on these things. Obviously, the G.I. Joe team did fine. Whatever carrot they dangled, people bit.
Yes.
But Star Wars team, back-to-back failures. I don't know. And somebody was being very doom and gloom about it and saying that we're never going to see another Black Series, 6-inch Black Series, HasLab project. And, like, that might be, because, I mean, what else would you do? A giant vehicle? The TIE fighter that they did for one of the sequels, that ended up at Ross. Like, people don't want to pay
Did.
a lot of money for like large
No.
Black Series items. Like, that's why the 4-inch line existed. They're small, so the vehicles don't have to be really big. Like, that is
Right.
why that scale was used from the 70s. So I think if you're collecting the Black Series, you just want the figures, maybe, you know, a Tauntaun, Jabba the Hutt, like something manageable. But when you
Sure.
start getting over $100 for one toy, it's like, I don't think I need that.
You don't. You
Plus
really
the
don't.
space
There's
it
no
takes.
Space. Exactly.
Didn't you turn
Exactly.
your TIE fighter into an end table?
At one point I did, but right now it's hanging up. So
That's nice. Yeah, as it should be.
yeah.
It's weird though that like there's the TIE fighter, but there's no X-wing to dogfight with it or whatever.
Right. Well, they
vehicles
made
were
that.
using.
They made that really crummy one that came out.
Was it
alongside
6-inch scaled?
It's scaled close enough to the Black Series line.
Oh, like back in the day, like Puff 2
It wasn't
time?
so much back in. No. This
okay.
was a little bit more recent. Gosh, I'm trying to remember how long.
Could a
it
figure
goes for
sit in
decent
it,
money
or
now.
it was?
I don't know if a figure could sit in it. It was just like an extra large vehicle.
Yeah, I'm thinking of what you're saying, and I felt like it had like R2 was electronic or whatever the R2 unit was.
These came out. It wasn't Jack specific that put it out, but it was along the same time when they were putting out those larger figures.
Was it not Hasbro that made it?
No, Hasbro did make it.
Okay.
Hasbro made it.
Let's see here. The vintage giant X-wing, 29 inches. Is that it?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So this was still for the 4-inch figures.
Oh, then maybe not.
Technically, if it was for vintage. Yeah, the canopy didn't open, so that was just... Yeah, but it looks like R2 moves. Yeah. Yeah, so but still, if you can't put the figure in, I don't count that.
No.
No. So this is big news. I think I saw a lot of people surprised by this news. I was not surprised by this news. Hasbro is bringing back starting a lineup. We knew that. What we didn't technically know that these figures will be highly articulated.
That's exciting.
It is very exciting. This is something that we've never seen. I don't know how we haven't seen it before. 6-inch scale, 1/12 scale, so probably larger because athletes are tall. Highly articulated figures. They're doing NBA first, which I think is good. NBA is very, very big.
Yep.
This is gonna be fun. It's gonna be. I think these are gonna look nice. Plus, if you want I think one of the cool things about the NBA is players get traded. So you could just like pop the head off and put it on the new uniform. Like in theory.
could.
I mean, they're like I don't know what's included in this, but I imagine it'll be a mix of classic with present day. So I don't. Were there ever Michael Jordan starting lineups? I feel like he has his own sort of marketing thing.
I'd have to say there was.
I feel like he was excluded from a lot of things because he like had his own marketing and probably was too expensive for them. But like we'll get a Larry Bird, like being from Boston. I'd like all the classic the Celtics when they get to NFL. I'd like to see Tom Brady back in the Patriots uniform. All we've seen 3D render, but you could see the joints. It looks like it's all sculpted. They're not going to do fabric tees or shorts, which I think is the good thing. We'll see what it looks like painted. I mean, in the grayscale model, you can kind of like the joints sort of like stand out a little bit. But I think once the color is in, I think it'll mesh much nicer. And really,
NBA is a good starting point just because there's not a lot of clothing to work with.
True.
You can really play with the articulation. Whereas, did they do the NHL for the starting lineup, or did they stay away from that?
I feel like they did all the sports.
They did all the sports.
I think at one point, because this was when did these start? It was at least the 80s, if not the 70s.
Late 80s. I think I have one of these. Need to see some curling. Hopefully they'll do some curling.
Yeah, let's get some of the newer sports. Pickleball, that'd be nice. Yeah, I'm looking at some NHL figures. I initially liked what McFarlane did with the statues because it was the most detailed sports figures.
Right.
But you always wanted to be able to pose them. And they McFarlane did do a 4-inch line of articulated figures, but that's too small. It's too small. You don't get the details. 6-inch, 7-inch, perfect. Get the good details, get the logos, get the sculpts, unique sculpts. All the players have different shoes. Get that going on. This could be a huge line. I think this could be a big deal. This is gonna
get the people that are, that don't buy your Marvels, don't buy your Star Wars. They're gonna be the ones being like, "Oh my god, I've got to do action figure photography of my
god, yes,
NBA players now."
And then they can do a whole arena. They could HasLab an NBA court.
Oh, can you imagine
buy that.
The starting lineup NBA court?
There's a guy. I'm sure there's a few of them. There's a guy that does amazing figure photography, and he has a basketball court, and he does it like with the NECA turtles.
I've seen that.
Oh, It's fantastic. I always liked McFarlane put out the basketball goals. He did the hockey nets too. I just think that is an amazing display piece. So if we can get some arenas, some play sets, and then have figures that you can pose, like use those stands where you can have them mid-air, the flying stands.
Yep.
There's just so much they could do. Oh my god. So definitely looking forward to this. I hope they don't screw the pooch. It took them this long to get it going. Let's hope it works. But I think, one thing's unfortunate is that we'll have the plastic free packaging, so you won't even see the figure, and I think that's a shame because you could get some nice poses in the box, but I guess that's beside the point at this point. They've waited this long. They've waited until the technology was right. They've experimented with all of the lines up to this point, and now they have it, and it should be a big deal. So let's hope it works out, because I think there's a lot of money to be made, a lot of fans to make happy, a lot of new fans potential, a lot of crossover there.
True.
The people who collect cards. I mean, as crazy as sports cards are right now and have been, this is a 3D card. Like, people collect cards. Yep. That's fine. This is, to me, such a much bigger deal than a card, because you could print a card if you wanted. It wouldn't be the same, but it's a picture. This is a 3-dimensional item. So looking forward to that. Baseball, hockey, basketball. Is that all the sports?
Football,
yeah. Football's going to be good. That's going to be a good one.
Soccer.
No, not so much.
Some soccer.
And then you can take those NHL figures and you can make new Mighty Ducks figures out of them.
You could.
Which is
also
the end goal.
You could also make a Mr. Freeze's goons from Batman and Robin.
This is why I love Hasbro, is because all of the figures sort of work in the same universe. Like the engineering, the design of them is similar enough that you can put them in the same universe. So yeah, lots of fun. Looking forward to that stuff. What else we got? Super7 always finding a way to get into the news. This week they unveiled another series of The Simpsons. We don't have any of the toys in our hands yet. I think this is series 3? It's 3 or 4?
Correct. This is
series
3.
Okay.
Yep.
So this, to me, is the weakest set that they've done in terms of characters and in terms of execution. So no Simpson family member, first of all, in the set.
Incorrect.
Okay. Correct me. Explain.
You get Maggie.
Mm-hmm. Kind of.
But you get Maggie from a very specific Treehouse of Horror episode.
With the alien body, the tentacles.
With the alien tentacles, correct.
So she is an accessory. The SKUs are Kane and Kodos, our resident aliens. They are very fun characters. I think Playmates did fine. I think there's more you could do.
I had a hard time finding those.
Yeah.
I had to buy them I think 10 years later for a decent price. So
and then you get Mr. Burns, who's probably the biggest name in this line. Yep. And then you get Ralph Wiggum. Now, let me tell you the biggest fail of this series. Who owns The Simpsons now?
Disney.
Who owns Star Wars?
Disney.
What is the most famous accessory that Ralph Wiggum could come with but does not?
Prepackaged Star Wars figures still in their original. The diorama.
Yeah. That would have sold this figure to me. I think that would have sold it to so many people. Maybe you just can't cross-pollinate between The Simpsons and Star Wars, but they're all owned by Disney. It would have been...
Yes.
It would have been... Mwah, that would have been the reason for this line to exist if we could have got that. And it's just such a sparse, accessorized series. Ralph has an extra head with the ice cream cone on his head. Fine. I'm sure you remember what that's from. I don't even remember what that's from.
I barely remember. I know they've got a thing of him, his hands holding the paste. I understand where that episode is.
He's got the Valentine. Ooh, a Valentine.
Got
that's an exciting accessory. We couldn't just print that ourselves. So that's no fun. Mr. Burns, 3 heads. Okay, fine. The hands
Blinky.
You get. Does he even come? You know what he should have come with? He should have come with the example germs that the doctor used to try to show him how sick he was.
Sure.
He's
got Bobo.
Bobo. Okay. Isn't it a cake?
And Blinky. No, that's Blinky.
Oh, that's
the
right.
The 3-eyed fish, but it's on the plate. It's being served. So it's not even actually Blinky who's alive. It's dead Blinky.
Dead Blinky. Yeah.
Dead Blinky.
He couldn't eat it. So just not a fun series. Just looking back at the first 2 series. First one, you had Moe. Moe was a winner right away. You had Homer as an astronaut, not the version of Homer I would have wanted, but still.
No.
And then you had Poochie, which is such a crazy figure to include, like a wild card figure that you have to sort of appreciate that they did. And then you have Robot, Itchy, and Scratchy, which are just really fun. Again, not something that Playmates did. So these are new characters. Whether you like them or not, they're new. If you want to add them to your collection, I think that is an added incentive. Series 2 bumps it down to 4 figures. You get Krusty the Clown. You need Krusty. You get a Bart Simpson. It's Bartman, which is... I always hate when the figures are Bartman, but
Bartman.
It is what it is. It comes with Santos E-Helper, at least. And then you get Duffman, which is, we've seen that figure before, but it's a fun figure. It's a very fun character, very toyetic. And then who's the other? Hank Scorpio is the 4th figure.
Is it?
Yes. With the flamethrower.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
So not a figure that Playmates did, or did they? They might have done him.
They did do him, yeah.
But it's a fun figure.
They were doing their celebrity line.
He's a celebrity. Who is he voiced by?
No, it was like one of the celebrity voices. He was voiced by Albert Brooks.
Okay. So again, even if that's not like, he's not the anchor of that line, but it's a fun figure.
No.
This set is just like, it's the Kang and Kodo set, I guess, but those figures are more expensive. Instead of being 55, they are 75.
Yeah, they're pulling the whole what was it, the wrestling?
Yeah, the Major Wrestling Figure podcast. But those figures were more because they had extra deco hits, extra tampo, whatever the official terminology is for it. These figures, I guess, are just larger, so like there's more plastic, so there's just more mass to them, so they're more expensive.
I wonder how big they actually will be. And they also come with a second portrait. They come with like a maniacal laughing portrait. So I mean, they're good looking figure. They're good looking renders, but at the end of the day, I want to see what this first wave looks like.
Well, that's the thing.
In hand.
How many more waves are you gonna like solicit before we can actually hold these things in our hands and make some decisions? There was just a report that one of the TMNT lines got delayed. That it was supposed to be out earlier this year. Now it's not going to be out until October. So they're having delays. Everybody's having delays. But Super7, I mean, I don't want to say they've bit off more than they can chew, but they must have pretty big mouths if they can chew all that they're putting out there, because they have Disney, they have wrestling, Simpsons.
We went over
Turtles.
this. It's Silverhawks.
Oh, I forgot all about those. Yeah,
Silverhawks. What else?
You have
that was actually
Toxic
one.
Crusader.
So those
now.
aren't based off the toys. We talked about it last week. Those aren't based off the toys. Those are actually based off of the show.
There's another one. Yeah, after the fact, I was thinking about it, and there was another one line that was based on the cartoon. Now I can't think of what it is. But yeah, so it's not like the turtles are based on the toys, but that is not like Super 7's exclusive shtick. Like they will do other things.
They got Power Rangers too.
Power Rangers. That's right, Power Rangers. Like I have a couple of those pre-ordered that are supposed to be out later this year. Just a lot. And like I hope they put them all out. I hope the quality is good. It's just a lot.
People are getting a lot of the Thundercats, and they're showing photos of the original painted samples, and then what they're getting looks atrocious. It doesn't look great.
It's different.
Yes, it is different.
There is an obvious decrease in quality from what was solicited to what you actually get, and that's not great. That's the exact opposite what you want to have when your entire business model is based around pre-orders. If I can't trust that the toy I get is going to be as good as what you showed me, I'm not going to pre-order any more of it.
No.
Especially not straight from Super 7 because they make you pay right away.
Of course.
At least with Entertainment Earth or Big Bad Toy Store, you can pre-order and they don't take the money until it's ready to ship. And by then, you know, it could be 2 years down the road. We're all in a different kind of world. Maybe we have more money. Maybe we have no money and we could cancel. But I'm not ready to make that kind of commitment to a toy company who has so many priorities all over the place. I can't be like, I'm a Simpsons fan. I know that these figures are going to take priority. You don't know that. They're probably going to prioritize whatever line is selling the best, and it's probably Disney right now. Probably Disney. So I don't know. It's just I want these to do well. I want to see them. I really want to see them. Like you said, let's get these in hand. Let's get Series 1 in hand before we allocate any more money for Simpsons from Super 7.
That's true.
It is true.
It's very much true.
It's very true.
Yeah.
I think it's understandable. It's not an unreasonable position to take.
No, it's not. No.
Another new line. Fresh Monkey Fiction, we've talked about them recently because they're doing those Santa Claus figures I like. They are partnering with our good friend Jason Gayer, also known as Toy Otter. If you follow Toy Otter on Instagram, one of the things he does is he 3D designs the toys that he wanted when he was a kid. He grew up with the Kenner superpowers, and he has been designing every possible character that you could do in that style. And Fresh Monkey Fiction was like, hey, let's actually make some of these. So
this is what's going on with these. Okay.
Yep. So these are called Longbox Heroes. And the first, there's a bunch of them being shown. The big names, Rocketeer, The Tick, Madman. There's even more if you go through all the social medias. They're like, different websites are going to be unveiling. Like on July 1st, I guess this already happened, The Foosh, Toy Arc, and Pixel Dan. July 3rd, which is tomorrow, Toy Otter and Fresh Monkey Fiction will have some more reveals. So it was 4 days of reveals. Okay. So Toy H.I.S.S has had an exclusive reveal. Where's our exclusive reveal? Come on.
Where's ours?
Jason?
Oh.
Jason,
reputable.
Jason I know because he was one of the owners or one of the managers, I guess, of Raving Toy Mania, RTM back in the day. And they had the Toy Buzz, which was the toy message board, but it was just one page with the blue text. Yeah. And that's where, like, I would come home from school and I would go right to that. Like, that's where I spent my days talking toys with all the friends.
Nice.
So these are styled after the Superpowers figures, which were sort of the precursors to the Toy Biz Toy Biz X-Men stuff. So but they did DC. Did they do Marvel?
I don't believe they did Marvel because this is Kenner, right? Or was this Toy Biz?
This was Kenner. Yeah, this was Kenner, prior to Toy Biz.
So Mattel, I think, was it Mattel that did, or was it Playmates that did like Secret Wars? You remember Secret Wars?
Right. Yeah.
They had the Marvel line.
So like all of the so this was the period of time where all the toys had 5 points of articulation.
Right.
Not a lot of detail. Pretty
No.
Pretty simple paint
Yeah, we
jobs.
had moved.
But that's all you had.
Moved away from. Yeah, but we moved away from He-Man at that time.
Right.
Everything
right.
was like very straight armed, straight legged,
Yes.
fit into a vehicle, and then that was
That's
it.
right. Yeah. So these figures are that similar to that style, but there's some scaling. Like Tick is larger than Rocketeer.
Right.
And they added knee articulation, which if I had my druthers, I would have chose elbow over knee, but maybe this helps keep the aesthetic of the character looking like that Superpowers line. Obviously, Jason, huge. He even says this is a lifelong dream of his to make this line a reality. I'm not, I have no connection to this style, so these are not super exciting to me. But if hopefully there are enough people out there that want these kinds of these figures in this scale. I'm sure the packaging will be very reminiscent of the Superpowers cards as well. Even McFarlane, did you see this? McFarlane is doing retro figures that look like the Superpowers line with his DC license.
Yes, this was unexpected, and they're being found at Walmart's currently.
Oh, they're already out there.
They're already out. They haven't even been announced, and they're being found.
So it's sort of funny how we go through these periods of okay, now we're doing retro figures like this. Like in the wrestling world, everybody's doing the Hasbro WWF style right now. Like there's 3 or 4 companies doing that, and now it seems that there's at least 2 companies doing these Superpower style figures. Because they're more simple. They're probably less expensive to produce because they don't have ball joints or anything like that.
Yeah.
So this is good for the production side.
NECA's even getting into it a little bit with their glow in the dark. They're doing that Remco style Universal Monster line.
Okay, so there you go.
For $20, you get the current Ultimate Universal Monsters without any of their accessories, and you get them on a retro style card, and they're $20. So it's kind of funny.
Wait, I want to see this. So what would I search to find these?
I know Entertainment Earth has them right now. Big Bad Toy Store is carrying them. They're on, if you go on NECA's Instagram, I believe it was one of their posts within the last couple days.
So these are their high-end Universal Monster figures?
Yeah, these are the ones that are currently out, but they've removed all accessories, and they've given them a glow-in-the-dark feature. So very reminiscent to the Remco style, yeah.
Yes. Oh, fun. Because how much do those figures cost normally with their accessories?
About $35.
Okay, so a little bit of savings there. The paint also looks dumbed down a little bit.
Well, I think it's because of the glow in the dark.
Because it's glow in the dark.
It does. Right. So if you're looking at like the Wolfman, he looks very, very basic. But then if you look at what he's based off of, which are those old Remco 3 3/4 inch figures. These even look like those old Burger King style Universal Monsters, if you remember those. I
do remember that, the Mummy.
So.
All right, so these are fun. Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, the packaging, very retro, very retro.
Yeah, so retro's definitely in because obviously
it's cheap.
Where the collector it's cheap and it just pulls at the member berries, and these people are the people that have the disposable money at this point to buy this crap. So
until they don't. Yeah. No, these are fun. I like these a lot. And then just thinking of the 5 points of articulation, Funko originally, but now Super7 has been doing those. They look like the Star Wars figures,
Yeah, the reaction figures.
Reaction figures, yes. And then Mezco has their own 5 points. I think that's even called 5 points of articulation. They do the Batman 66 and probably their little mascot friends that they've been doing, the skulls and everything. So this is a genre that's out there right now. If you like this stuff, great. Personally, this is all we had for a little bit, and then we got Marvel Legends. I was like, why would I want to go back? I don't think fondly back on these toys and be like, this was the pinnacle of toys. I was like, I wish these had more articulation, and then they did, and I was like, well, I'm not going to play with these old ones anymore.
Sure.
So it's not working on me, but I know there are people that love that stuff, and a lot of this stuff is made to be kept on the card.
Of course.
And thank God that it still has plastic, because there's no retro packaging once you get into plastic free packaging, because we've always had plastic. So that's happening as well. It was a big week. There's a lot to talk about this week. We didn't talk about last week. The Splinter figure from this Monsters lines for Turtles.
We touched base with it, but they did reveal more. They showed the teaser photo of him, and we talked about his odd legs, but now they've released a full-on photo of the actual figure with accessories and
a little more.
I'm not impressed.
No, it just and then there was the head that has the glasses, and people said he looked like Harry Potter. And like, okay, but that's not a selling point. I just think it looks very lame. like the Turtles were fine. There's just not enough with Splinter to dress him up and have it look good.
That's the thing. It's like with the Turtles, at least they incorporated parts of the universe into the shells came off, or they had like Frankenstein had like cobbled together pieces on his shell. The Hunchback, the shell opened and there was stuff going on there. Michelangelo as the Mummy has that second portrait. This is just Splinter.
It's just
movie Splinter.
He's
in
cosplaying.
A different outfit. He's cosplaying. He's like in disguise. It's like seeing Donatello in disguise in that 80s costume. Now we've got Splinter being able to go out and being like, "Hey, I want to go to see a movie.
Yeah.
Here's my outfit. How do I look?" It's like you know what it is? It's like Goodwill. It's Goodwill Splinter. It's like this is the outfit Splinter would find at Goodwill to go out.
I thought you were saying like Goodwill Hunting, but I was
no.
He sneaks into a college and does algebra.
I mean, like if he went like to the Salvation Army thrift store and this is what he found to put on.
This is what he picked up. Yeah.
Yes.
It's like you forgot there was a costume party. And it's like we'll just grab whatever's in the box, the lost and found. It's funny you mentioned Donatello, because we still haven't seen a full reveal of his figure, and we sort of skipped him and went to Splinter. Yeah, it's sort of strange. We also don't even have Leonardo in hand yet. I mean, it's almost Halloween. Maybe they'll just drop them all Halloween. That makes a little bit more sense. But we got Raph a long, long time ago.
We have, and I'm seeing him in a lot of different stores now. But I was looking at these because obviously you can pre-order Splinter now. I was looking on Entertainment Earth, and actually, I mean, take it as it is, the arrival date for the Hunchback figure is actually later than the Michelangelo Mummy figure at this point, which is
very
odd.
Strange. Maybe they went back to fix the facial hair because it was weird.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I want to see these dates really quick. So Mikey is October, and then Leonardo's November, and then April is November as well. So obviously Leo, there's a reason Leo got bumped back. And then Splinter's January. Don not even available to pre-order, so
no,
he's invisible in more ways than one. I want to end this week on my favorite thing currently. So we talked about mini brands last week. I love mini brands. I love the idea of small things. If you have a Sonic restaurant by you, definitely get the kids meal, or just go there and ask them for the toys, because they have mini brands Sonic food. Look at this. So each of these came as its own thing. All of the sets come with a little bag. So so you get the bag and then you get one thing. So you have drinks. There are 3 different drinks, well, actually 4, but 3 different white cups, and then there's a gold one. Okay. You got the chili dog. Look at that. That's nice. That's some nice on there. And then you got, I'm not sure if these are tots or if these are curds, but they're cool. And then you have the drink tray that you put on the car, because it's like one of those old styles where you roll down your window.
Like an old style car hop.
Yeah, car hop. That's it. And then there are, as they do with mini brands, there are some rare versions, and I don't know if these are actually rare. They're just branded that way. But I rolled up there one of the first days of the promotion, and I was like, give me 20. And there's only 16. So they were like, there's only 16, right? I was like, I don't care. And they were very good about...
I said 20.
I said 20. What part of 20 didn't you understand?
Yeah.
So they were very nice about digging through and trying to get me as many unique bags as I could, and I missed a couple, but it's really not a big deal. So there's the gold hot dog, the gold nuggets, and the gold cup, and then the tray glows in the dark, which is kind of neat.
Oh wow!
There's also a roller skate. Well, that's the thing. to compare, here's my bag of mini brands. The mini brands are traditionally this size, and then here's the cup next to it. Large, very large. And at least the food is all in scale. So then you have the tray, which is huge, and you could definitely tell the tray. Well, they're all numbered, and all the numbers are in the packaging. So there can be no mystery if you get them. But look, I got 20. Here are my 20 bags. I love it. I love the bags. The bags was one of my favorite things from the toy mini brands. This is my least favorite thing.
Actual Sonic bag.
I know.
A nice visor.
Well, that's how they came. I don't like the visor just because it's lame, but it's brand. It makes sense. There's 3 different colors: the glow in dark, the black, and the red. If that was the only one I got, I would be sad. And then here are the roller skates, which I didn't think would be that cool, but the wheels move. It's glow in the dark. This is like the ultra rare. This red shiny one or the glitter one. So I got almost everything. I just was like, give me 20 because why not? Why not get the full set? Give me everything you got. Give me all your mini brands. I waited at the window for literally 10 minutes while they like combed through all of them. So I felt bad for the people behind me. But I was very thankful that they did
about
that.
You all day. Some guy came in and he wanted everything.
I bet I was not the only one to do it. The mini brands people are crazy. I told you about the Facebook pages, right?
No.
They're always on there trying to sell like their extras, and they have like thousands of them. So a lot of fun. I love it. I want to see McDonald's do it. I want to see I'll make this statement right now. If you are a fast food restaurant and you do a mini brands version of your food, I will eat at your restaurant at least once because I want the mini brand stuff. Right. Yeah, for a whole week. I would love McDonald's ones. Oh, McDonald's suddenly is my favorite restaurant. I don't know. I like the quarter pounder with cheese. So that's what I got going on. Anything else for this big week, Bill?
No, it was a jam-packed week.
Jam-packed.
A couple of the things that we're not going to get to tonight, but we'll get to them at some point.
That's fine.
I would say.
Save it for the TikTok, maybe.
Sure.
All right, everybody. Well, you know what we say? We don't want to grow up, but we already did. Have a great week, everybody.
Bye, everyone.